got another vlog for you guys. 9 ways you can sweet your lecturer. Alright, now you're probably thinking to yourself, why do I need to sweet the lecturer? Well, the whole point is this: at the end of the day, most lecturers actually, some of your lecturers, sorry, I shouldn't say most, some of your lecturers are going to mark a dissertation. Yo, that's the most important thing you could be doing at the end of the 3rd year. You want to make sure you make great relationships with your person who's lecturing and who's going to actually mark your dissertation. So this whole thing, listen, take it seriously, don't take it seriously, and listen, I've got 9 tips for you. Cool. So number 1, I said, listen, turn up on time. One of the most annoying things that people can do, yeah, when it comes to university, is not turn up on time. Fam, you pay 9,000 to come and not turn up on time. Fam, remember, you're paying. Listen, if you go to work, I come in late, fam, I'm getting paid at the end of the day. But you're now paying 9,000 to come late. And you have to understand as well, again, your lecturer is a human being. So whenever you're late to your lectures and your seminars are very important, because that's the time the lecturer actually sits down and speaks to you and a group of people. You want to make sure that mama sees that you're punctual. Do you know how annoying it is when people are not punctual? So the moment you see that someone's not punctual, you think that they're lackadaisical, they don't care about what they're doing. And so when you don't think they don't care about what they're doing, you don't care about what they're doing. Do you get me? And that's something you need to understand. So listen, turn up on time, very important. Punctuality. Number 2, be interactive, be engaging, ask questions, have answers. Listen, when you're, especially in seminars, when you're in university, when you're in seminars, the lecturer asks a lot of questions and people just sit there and be quiet. Now, I'm letting you know, as a person who wants to, if you're coming to mark your work, and I'm coming to, you know, to look at your work and analyze your work, critique your work, remember, I'm already seeing you in class. So what I do is I translate what I see in class to what I see on the paper. So what happens is, if you're gonna, I don't want to say be quiet, but if you're not ready to obviously ask questions, be engaging, be interactive, what can happen is, again, the person can see that person don't really care about what they're doing. Remember, you're paying 9G, Don. You're paying 9G to come there, fam. So you need to be ready and prompt. Like, you should want to come there, have questions, have answers ready, you know what I mean? And do this before. Sometimes, listen, go to your lecture before even the seminar starts to show that you're not just eager, but you're ready to learn. Do it during, so it shows that, listen, I'm engaged, I'm listening to what you're actually talking about. Do it after, so it shows also as well, I've heard what you said and I'm adding my own piece to it. Very important. Lecturers want to see that a child, see a person who's engaged in what they're doing. Then they want to further want to help you. Do you know what I mean? These are tips that you need to understand, because the lecturer could be marking your work at the end of the day. Done. Make sure your lecture's on point for you. 3, bring something new. And basically what that is, say like I did business, right? If I'm doing business, I'm going to university and I've got a lecturer there, I want to bring him something new. So I remember one time I was in a seminar, and the lecturer was saying like, we're talking about, I think, global warming, for instance, and how it affects businesses. And I was mentioning to them saying, oh, I recently saw on the news that obviously when you put ice cubes into water, it doesn't actually make the water actually rise. And everyone was like, rah, yeah, I heard that too. So then we started having a conversation. But from that point, she understood that I'm engaged, I'm active, I'm listening, I'm ready. I want to come to this class and I want to learn something. And what happened is that whenever I did any work, I was happy, first of all, to take the work to her, because she really knew I was engaging. 2, she was also happy to respond to that. Let me tell you something, we're human beings. If I don't like you, fam, when you bring your work to me, it's very hard for me to just dispatch my emotions from what I'm meant to be doing. It's very difficult for someone to be a lecturer, not be in their feelings, and then want to mark your work in a nice way, fam. If you're a complete mug, and when you bring your work to me, listen, I'm gonna make sure when I think you're meant to say something, like let's say, you know, you read something and it's like, I meant to say this, I'm gonna say, well, I can see what's on the paper, I ain't gonna add any more. But you know how like sometimes when the person's feeling, they go, oh, I know how he thinks. So sometimes what they actually do, they actually assume, so they're reading what you've read, but they're like, you know what, I know what you are going to, I know what you're trying to add, I know what you're trying to say. So they mark your work in a nice way. I'm just letting you know, listen, it's an important thing. Lecturers are human beings, I want to reiterate that. So you've got to get them on your side. Number 4, listen, always take your work, take it probably to a lecturer that you really like, and let them critique it. Let them analyze it, and let them actually go through it with a fine-tooth comb before you submit the work. What this shows to a lecturer is this: I actually care about my work, I want to see you go through it, and I want to implement the changes that you're telling me to do. Remember, your lecturers, half of them, actually a lot of them write books. The books that you're actually using to read, a lot of them lecturers, I remember in University of Bedfordshire, 3 of my lecturers actually had written books, what we were actually using. So that taught me that, okay, so I need to make sure these people actually have written, but they've gone to a far level. They've actually published. So what I need to do is take my work now to now bear in mind, I only got a 2-2, but that's my fault. Don't you have to? You don't have to do what I have to do. You know, you don't have to do what I have to do. You don't have to get a 2-2. You should be getting a first. Learn from my mistakes. So I'm saying to you, listen. There are a lot of people at lecturers. They write books. They write, you know, articles and stuff like that. So take your work to them so that they can mark it before. Remember, it'll probably be the same lecturer who's marking your work beforehand who will mark your work after. So when he sees that you've implemented the change, remember again, it's about human beings and trying to get them on your side. Once you've shown that you can implement the change that he said or she said, and you've brought the work further, they're going to be like, okay, so he's implementing the changes here and here. I know what he's trying to say. Boom, extra marks. You don't know, you know, because half the thing that we do in university is essay writing. So it's opinion, obviously added with obviously scholarship and added with quotes and books and all that. But it's how you structure it. And remember, they're going to see how you talk will come through how you write. So just be aware of that. You know what I mean? One of the best things about university is this: lecturers give out the numbers. Well, the ones I had anyway, they were giving out the numbers. I think some of them were suspects, but they were giving out the numbers. And what this did for a lot of students was this: it broke the barrier of lecturer and student. What happens is when you have lecturer and students, like, I have to learn from you, I have to do this, I have to do this. It's I'm telling you to do this. But when you break the barriers down, by instance, giving your personal number, or so we say lecturer number, because you have a separate one, it means that now I can contact you at any time to say, listen, I've been thinking about this particular subject, and this is where I'm going with it. I'm not really sure how to deal with it. Then the lecturer replies, I remember my lecturer would text and say, yo, he is funny. My lecturer was funny. He used to say some jokes. So he would take some mad things, you get me? But it was funny, it broke the wall. So what happened is that now I can go and approach him like, listen, okay, like this work, I'm not really sure how to go about it. I'm not embarrassed about saying this, I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't know where I'm going with it, or etc, etc. And what he did was that he then applied himself to help me out. And that's what you want, because it's self-learning in university. It's self-teaching in university, even though you have teachers who are able to teach you. Half of it is done by you, so you've got to apply yourself and actually take yourself to them. They're not bringing themselves to you. They got 100 other students. How do you separate yourself? By actually showing that, listen, I am engaged in what I'm doing. That same word I'm saying again, engaged, interacting, just kind of going forward to them. Some of them only release their emails. Listen, email them. Fam, 9 grand, you know. Fam, I will not, 9 grand. My one was only 3. You're paying 9 each year. That's 27,000. Not added with the maintenance. Half of you are not even getting grants. Fam, you're paying about 36,000 back. You need to use every method and channel that you can use to get the best of your 3 years in university. You're not there for raves. You're not there to find gal. You're there to get an education, or man, sorry. You're there to get an education. So use all the channels available. If it's an email, it's an email. If it's a phone call, it's a phone call. If it's a text, whatever. But use every channel so you can to get engaged with your lecturer, so they can tell you what to do. You get me? Alright. Number 6. It's very funny. Listen, lecturers get put up for prizes. They get put up for how should we say? They get put up for awards at the end of the year. So one of the things you can be smart with is this. Listen, it's not bribery, you know. Listen to what I'm saying. They're human beings, so be smart. Alright. So they get put up for awards. When you're doing your work, you know what I mean? You be like, you just have to slip it in like, listen, sir or madam, listen, you know, you've been so good to me, I'm just gonna put you up for the award. They'll be like, oh really? Like, I remember I had one marketing lecture, yeah. He was so funny, but the thing was, he said to me, I was giving him a piece away. He said, yeah, just don't forget to put the award for me in it, jokingly, nudge, nudge. But I knew he was serious, and that nudge was, yo, done. Hey, put me up for award, innit? You get me? So I was like, alright, cool. I don't think I was like, I'm gonna have to write an essay, fam. I really don't want to do that. But in the end, what I realized is, he didn't even help me in university. It was after I finished university. When I was looking for a new job, I used him as a reference. Matt. So now what? Now he knows that obviously I put him up for the award. Now when I'm going for my reference, this is after uni, you know. Look how it's now benefiting me. After uni, now man's giving me a great reference, fam. Look, you know what I mean? So you have to understand that your lecturers are human beings. They can help you not just in university, but even after university and for life onwards. Who knows? You might meet that person down the street later on and you may have a contact. I don't know, but listen, use every available channel. I keep saying it to your best of your ability. So yes, submit them for awards. If they're a good lecturer, if they're dead, then fam, they're dead, innit? But most lecturers are pretty decent, you know what I mean? Alright, cool. Number 7. So when you're doing your, if you're doing a dissertation, or you're doing an essay, or you're doing an article, whatever you have to write, especially if a lecturer's written a book, use their book. Fam, I'm marking your work. You now use a book that I've written. I'm gonna try to understand what you're saying. So everything you said concerning the book that I've used, when you write it in the book, the way I'm gonna mark your work is different. Because you're showing appreciation to my work. You're using my book now in your work. It's appreciation. So the way I'm going to react to it is completely different. Alternative, they haven't written a book. Use books that they've recommended. If they've recommended a book, it means they've read the book and they're recommending it to you, which means they are familiar with that book, which means when you use it, it means that now they can mark your work with appreciation because they understand where you're coming from. Sometimes it's a bit difficult when you're having to use a book what they don't know about and trying to fly it in. That's how they can tell as well when people are lying and say, I use this book. You ain't use that book. You ain't use that book. You know you went on Google and type in the book. Because some of us did that. Big man. Appreciate you done that.
Can I give you up?
Huh? Yeah, man. It's calm, man. I appreciate it, man. If you use a book that they've written or one that they're familiar with, they've recommended to you, it means they're familiar with that book. So if you obviously then use that book, listen, it just puts you on another pedestal because that gives you an advantage because they understand where you're coming from. It just makes things a little bit easier. I'm just giving you practical tips out here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't lose it. All right. Number 8. Listen. Do you know what? Jesus broke bread. It's funny. This tactic here is mad. It works. Listen. Whenever you want to break a barrier down, whenever you want to get favor, use food. Listen, if you want to steal somebody's husband, listen, use food. I'm not saying you should, but I'm just saying. That's how powerful food is, you know. Food can do that. Okay, listen, when you're in, especially in a seminar, I remember I used to be in a seminar, like I said, your lecturer's a human being, he's hungry too. You know what I mean? Some lecturers came there from far and they haven't eaten breakfast. And then when you're chowing your food during the seminar, fam, you're making man angry. In fact, you're making me angry, fam. Because I'm thinking, I ain't eating, and I'm a student. You know what I mean? So, listen, sweeten the deal. You see your lecturer, like he's in a seminar. Look, something as simple as a fruit pastel, you know. Nothing crazy. You have a fruit pastel. You say, lecturer, do you want a fruit pastel? Man takes it, or he doesn't take it. But the offer was there. He can see that. Remember, we're going past this whole idea of lecturer and student. You want to go past that because that person's marking work. You want them to mark with emotions. You want them to mark with the fact that they're saying, I like this person. So that when they mark your work and they try to see a D, they're like, no, do you know what? I don't like the D because I like him. Let me give him a C. Or if he sees that, sorry, let me say C. If he sees like a 2-2 is on the borderline, he's going to be like, you're on the border, innit? But let me bump you up, innit? Let me bump you here. You know what I mean? Let me bump you up a little because, you know, I like you kind of thing. I like your flavor. You know what I mean? That's it. You have to get the lecturer on side. Standard. You know what I mean? So the last point is this. If you're brave enough, this is the 9th one. If you're brave enough, some people have done this. You take your lecturer out for dinner. Or lunch. Or breakfast. Whichever one they feel the best to. Take him out. Listen, I'm being deadly serious. You're always saying, I ain't got much money because I'm broke. I'm a student already. Yeah. Fam, when some of you are buying Balenciagas, fam, and you say you ain't got money, fam, you weren't complaining then. Listen, take your lecturer out for a meal, talk to him as a human being, and get their favor. It's all about favor. University is all about favor, you know. Because some of the essays you're gonna write are absolutely dog doo. Some of you, your essays are absolutely abysmal, fam. So how you got a 2-1, no one knows. How you got a first, nobody knows. Because when you writ it out, you were sleeping halfway through. When you writ it out, you were not even paying attention. But somehow, you got the first. Sometimes it's because of favor. Sometimes because the person who's marking your work likes you. And they like the energy. Done.
I was going to talk to you about...
Done. You can pause it. Done. What are you getting?
Yeah, I was going to...
Yeah, so silly, bad boy. Alright, no, stop. But yes, so if you're brave enough to do it, take your lecturer out for dinner, take your lecturer for lunch. It's all about creating relationships, not just for now, but about for later on. University is but 3 years, but you never know where you're going to get to, where you may need to have favor from that individual. Sometimes it's only a word someone needs to speak, and you're going to be somewhere that you need to be. You know what I mean? So, that's what
I'm already done, right?
You know what I mean?
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, man, don't worry.
Sorry.
So, yeah, you have to understand that, listen, at the end of the day, your lecturers are human beings. They're probably going to mark a dissertation. Some of them, I've written it down, you know. Some of them are going to give references for jobs, you know what I mean? Like, you may need this person. Listen, some lecturers, they go above and beyond the job, you know. Some lecturers are counsellors. Because some of you, you've got problems and you need someone to talk to, and your lecturer becomes that counsellor. That is the kind of thing I'm talking about, going above and beyond the fact that we're a teacher and lecturer. Understand that principle. When you understand it, when you go to do your work, you realize, fam, the way you even want to do your work, you know you don't do no shoddy work because you like the lecturer you're talking to. So you won't do a piece of shoddy work. You won't do a quick 5-minute haperdash, quick thing, get there before 4 o'clock kind of thing. You get me? But listen, that's me, I'm out. You know what I mean? Split of wild party in. Galatians 5:17, guys. In case you guys thought, as a Christian you can rave. You can't. Okay, it's in the Bible, Galatians 5:17. Change the translation if you want. Go to NLT, you'll see it's there. Wild parties. No. So raving. Let me tell you something about raving. I love raving. When I was in university, listen, me and raves, fam, I'm there, fam. With 2 sweat funnels, and when at the end of the night, I'm wringing out the sweat funnel. That's how hard I'm going that night. You get me? I love raving, fam. But one thing I understood about